Hi, I'm Amanda Skelton, an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and today I'd like to show you how to make this beautiful card. This is using the Beach Day bundle, so it is using the stamp sets, and then we'll be using the matching dies as well, which is really nice. And it's really good because you can get a different effect whether you use the dies or whether you use the stamped images, so you can get two very different looks depending on if you use the cutouts or whether you just stamp it. So it's really versatile set. I think it's really good as well for mail cards. I always really struggle to make mail cards, so it's a really good set, I think, for a mail greetings card as well. So that's what we're going to make. I'm going to do it in a slightly different colourway today. I'm going to do it in this colourway, so I'm going to do it with blues. So I'm using Tahitian Tide, and the brown, I'm going to do the brown sand, which is crumb cake. And then I've used real red for the detail here. So that's the colour I'm going to do this one. So what do you need? So let's see what we need. So we need a piece of A4 cardstock. Oh, don't know what I've got on there. Piece of A4 cardstock cut in half and then scored in half to make an A5 card. Do I mean A5? No, A6 card. So you need that. Then you need another piece of white card that measures 3 inches by 4 1/4 of an inch. And I don't know if you can see, but there is a section here. So this is going to become this panel here. So there is a panel that's raised just to give it a bit more detail. And then I've got crumb cake, and I'm using Pacific Point for the C and for the, so I'm going to do it for the sand, for the crumb cake for the sand colours. And then also you want some more I want crumb cake, so let me do this one. I want crumb cake, some card for the palm tree trunk. I'm going to do the Pacific Point for the tree, and I'm also going to use some more white card to do your detail here. Okay, so that's what we'll need. So I've tried to speed up a little bit. So what I've already done is I've already stamped the images. So we need to stamp the lifeguard station and the surfboard and the little seagull here. So I've already done that, and I've already coloured it. Like I said, I've told you the colours that I've already used, so just to make it a bit quicker really, so that we can do that. What I've also done is on this top panel here, I've just stamped the flying seagull, because you want to do that while you've got a piece of card that you can stamp on flat, not when you've started to assemble it. Okay, so you can do that straight away. Okay, so let me show you then. So let's get the die cutting machine. So I'm going to first of all cut out the elements I've already coloured in. I've treated myself to some new plates. Look, you can actually see through them. I got so fed up of not being able to see if something had moved or not, so I actually bit the bullet and got some new ones, which is a lot nicer, I have to say. So there is a die cut for this coloured image here. I've also got one for the surfboard, and I've also got a little diddy one which I keep losing for the seagull. So those are the three I'm going to use from the die set. So I'm going to do one at a time to make sure that they don't move. So just have to get above it, otherwise I can't see. Okay, try and put your plate on as flat as you can. See, at least I could see that moved that time, you see. Okay, that looks about right. There's the handle creaking, not my bones, I promise. Okay, so there you can see, really nice die cut piece there. So we'll keep that to one side. And we're going to do the surfboard. I don't know if you can see the detail on the surfboard. I used light Tahitian Tide first for all of it, and then I used the dark Tahitian Tide at the top to give it the detail, and then I used the light Tahitian Tide again. You can see it's moved again. I used the light Tahitian Tide then to blend in. It's just good to get a little bit of detail especially seeing as I've got the light colour on the lifeguard station, and then I've used the darker, and it just will help to match it in with the specific point that I've got for the sea detail. Oops. And then the last one is this little seagull. You can of course always use a piece of what do you call it, washi tape, if you want to keep the pieces in place. Just make sure you don't push it too much onto your card, otherwise it can rip if it sticks too well. Okay, so I've got my little seagull there, which is dinky. I'm going to put that on top of there, otherwise I'm going to lose it. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do. So the other thing we need is, I forgot to tell you all the pieces, didn't I? So the other thing we need then is a piece of, I'm using Pacific Point blue card here, and I've got the crumb cake. You want those to both measure about 1.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. So that is going to become this section over here. Now it is longer than the card, the width of the card, and the reason I do that is because we need to match up these two. So I don't know if you can see that there's a curved line which is on one of the dies that comes with this set, and you want to do it so that they meet. If you want to, you could just put one on top of the other if you want to, if you don't want to worry about that all behind. But I've done it so that it actually matches up. So I've made these wider so that even though we start the lines at the same side, they should match up. It just gives you a bit of wriggle room to match up the curves when you want to. So first thing I'm going to do then is on the blue card is, so you get 2 dies. These are the 2 dies for making the detail here. So this one is the one that does the waves. So you can see the cutout here, which has got quite nice detail. So the top edge here is the cutting edge. So that's going to be at the top. It doesn't matter how this lines up because this is the top edge. It doesn't have to match. But you do want to make sure that it comes in a little bit from your top edge so that you don't get any straight edges. Okay, so you will get some leftovers. Keep hold of those leftovers because I use that to become this sort of like an edge of a cloud. I thought that was quite a nice detail there, so keep hold of that. Get your craft tool and just pop those out and keep those to the side for the detail in a minute. Okay, so once we've got that, what we want to do then, oh there's a piece there, I can't quite come out as that. What we want to do then is we're going to do the curve on the bottom. So that's the cutting edge, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it from the right hand side, and I will do the same on the beige in a minute, the crumb cake, so that hopefully it should match up. So I'm going to do it a little bit, I'm not going to do it right to the end. You can do it as deep as you want to, so I think that should be deep enough. I'm just going to make sure it's straight. Oh, there you go. So now I'm just going to move it a little bit. I can see it wasn't quite at the edge. So then I get a piece like this. Okay. So now I'm going to get my brown, where's me? Oh God, I'm losing everything. Oh, there it is, look. So now I'm going to get this one, and again I'm going to do it from this side, and I'm going to do this at the top edge because it's the top edge that needs to match, and I know that it was slightly over. So again, you just want it to make sure that it's down from the edge. That top edge. And then if we get rid of that for the minute. So then if I get those two pieces together, then they should join up nicely. Okay, like I said, that is still too wide for the card, but that means that we can cut it down in a minute. So you get it to line up on one edge, and then we'll cut that down in a minute. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so that has used, I don't know if you can see here, what I do when I get a die set now is I draw a line around all the pieces so that I know where they go, because I always find I can never get them to fit again once I've taken them out, and I'm thinking, oh, they always fitted in so perfectly when they arrived. So I always do that so that I can then see where they go. So they should then fit back in again. So I'm now going to take out the, let's put the surfboard in. I can also see then if I've missed a piece as well, especially this little seagull one there. So I'm going to take out for the palm tree trunk, trying to get the words, and then these two will become the palm tree leaves. And that's not really traditional to have blue, but I just thought it would go nicely with the colour. So I've got some extra card here, so this I'm going to use, let me just get out of that out of the way. Let's get my die cutting machine again. So you only need a tiny bit of card. Again, I'm using crumb cake. For the trunk. So I don't know if you can do that, to flick it to get that out, or if not, use your pokey tool. And then we're going to get some more Pacific points of the card. And I'm going to do both of these at the same time. You just want to make sure, I think I've said it before, you don't want them to overlap, otherwise they will cut and break each other. Okay, so that is my two pieces of palm tree in my very non-traditional colours. Okay, right, we have finished with the die cutting machine. So now we have everything we need. We have our background. So again, stamp your seagull on the top corner. We have our sand and our waves. We have our tree trunk, and we have our what do we have? What have I done? Oh, surfboards there. Have our station, we have our surfboard, and we have our little seagull. Okay, so you can get back to your I don't quite know what I've done there. Get back to your card base, and you can fold it in half if you want to. So if you want to put, so I've got a sentiment here and I've stamped it on this base card. If you want to do that as well, as opposed to have it raised as a sentiment, then you want to do it now before you assemble anything. So this has got a really nice script, happy birthday. I quite like the sending sunshine your way as well, but I'm not quite sure you can quite fit it in at the bottom. What you could do is not have that detail there, and you could maybe bring it down a little bit, and you could have your sentiment there, which would fit in quite nicely, because it's a different sort of sending sunshine your way, could fit in quite nicely there. It doesn't quite work for how I've designed this particular one. Okay, so I'm going to use Pacific Point to pick out the sea colour and the colour of the, just make sure, There we go. Okay, so what you want to do is, what did I measure? I think it was 1.5 inches. 1.25 inches is about where you're going to put this raised card. If you want to, you can so I can just see I've got loads of ink, so I'm just gonna, because I'm doing it straight onto the card base, I'm just gonna get rid of some of that excess ink, otherwise it's gonna mark the card. If you want to, you can mark 1.25 inches up from the bottom, so make sure that you give yourself enough space for the rest of it. So I'm going to wing it. I'm going to basically put it there, which should be plenty. But if you're not sure, sometimes it can be difficult to judge how far up to put it. Okay, so now I've done that, the next thing to do is to place our raised section. So I've just got lots of little raised sticky, so I want to do it on the back. So turn that one over. If you've got your seagull hopefully already stamped on it, let's find one I can get hold of easier. There you go. So I'm just going to put some raised sticky pads on the back here. I do like having raised sections, it just adds a lot more detail to it. There you go. So now that you've got your writing there, you can roughly centre where you think it's going to go. Take off your protective pieces. Oh, stuck to me. Right, nearly there. I've purposely got quite long nails at the moment, so it shouldn't be as difficult a job as I'm making it, but maybe my nails are a bit too long. Maybe I'm not. Alright, so I've undone all those. So you want to make sure that your seagull is at the top corner, and you want to roughly centre that. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is put your sand and sea on it. So you probably want to fold it in half at this stage. So I do it just so that it's just slightly above the bottom edge, just so that you can see that raised edge. Like I said, it just shows you the detail. So those two are fitting in. Now, because they are pretty much lined up, I'm going to line up to that edge, and it's up to you. I've done it the full width of the card here, just so that you've got the full width there, and then you've got this detail here just to make a difference. You can do it just the width of the raised section if you want, or you can do it halfway in between. It's entirely up to you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it the full width. So I'm just going to measure from the right hand side of the card. It doesn't matter if it's not quite there, because you won't notice that it's raised. And then I'm just going to put a line on there and a line on there. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to cut those two lines off. So I'll get my paper trimmer, and so use the flat edge so you know you're going to get it flat. I'm just going to take that one off there. And then with this one, because you haven't got a straight edge, you're just going to have to try and see roughly that it's roughly in line. Right, you can see your line through there. Now, what you've got to be careful of is on here, I've got my blade here because I'm going to cut this first bit. Because this isn't attached, it's going to push this away. So I'm only going to cut this first section, and then I'm just going to trim it with a pair of scissors on that one. So I can feel that's... Well, it hasn't quite gone through, but that's fine because I can trim the rest. So I'm going to get my scissors and then I'm just going to trim. Otherwise the blade is going to push that away from it and it's going to not end well. Okay, so what I also tend to do is trim this bit as well. I'll give you plenty so that you can adjust it. Now this is a straight edge, so again I'm going to trim it down a bit. So if we see, we've probably got about 1 inch on the highest ledge, so that's about 1 inch there. So I'm just going to cut the bottom edge off. So I know it's all lined up on the curved edge, so take it away from the straight edge and it should be all fine. Okay, so then I'm just going to use some glue to adhere it to, oh, I think my blade needs sharpening. I'm going to put some glue, but you don't want to put it right on the edges because you only want to put it on the middle section that's going to be on here. Otherwise you're going to end up curving it. It's not going to stick very well. Again, if you want to, you can turn it that way, I suppose, and you can do lines so you know where you're going to be putting glue. Again, I'm going to wing it and I'm going to use my glue tape anyway. So I've just avoided the outside edges and I'm just going to make sure that's roughly just a little bit up from the bottom edge and is straight and is going to the edges. And then I'm going to do the same for this bit as well. You have to be careful on the top bit because again it's quite delicate. And then you can just slot that in to place above the sand section. Okay, so once we've done that, we can then add all of our other detail. So going to have that and that. So I like to do it so that the tree is coming sort of from behind here, so it's hidden a little bit. You want to make sure that your lifeguard station is quite a way to the left, because you want space to put your surfboard and lean up against the back of the life station. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to not put glue up here so that I've got a little gap that I can just put the palm tree behind. Okay, so the rest of it I can glue. I'm going to leave the top edge. Oh, where did you come from? I'm going to leave the top bit away from the glue. And I'm going to put it as far left as I can, and pretty low as well. Okay, and you can put glue on all of that, as I said, apart from there. I'm then going to glue the surfboard, and I'm going to put it at a jaunty angle, as if it's lying up against the back of the life station. Right, and then you want to sort of just play around with where you want to put this. You don't want it to be too, it's more about the angle of where the top of it's going to come, because you don't want it to come off the top at the side of the card, otherwise you're not going to fit it in. Right, so we need to just, so first thing I would do, so that one sort of goes around to the right at the bottom, and that one sort of goes around to the left. So the one that sort of goes around to the left goes on top and just sort of goes at a bit of an angle like that. So it looks like that. So I'm just going to put a little bit of tape in the middle. That's quite a lot of tape actually. That should be okay. And I'm just going to do that. So that's the palm tree. So you just want to check that when you put your palm tree sort of centered to that it's not going to go over the sides. So again, you can use liquid glue if you like. I'm just going to use the tape, and I've put the thin bit at the top, thick bit at the bottom, and again I'm just going to offer it under here, so I need it to come in enough so that that will go on there. And then again, I'm just going to put some tape on there, and then put him on there. And then the last thing is to put our little seagull on, our little cute dinky little seagull. And I'm just going to have him walking around here at the bottom of the on the sand. Okay. Oh, one last thing. I said about the putting this little detail on, didn't I? So yeah, it's just quite nice to have that as if it's the like a cloud. So these are quite long, so you probably won't need all of it. I don't know whether to do that one or that one. I might do that one. I'm just going to snip a little bit off it so that it goes to the edge. And again, I'm going to put a little bit of tape, but it's quite dinky, so glue might be easier. And then I'm just going to offer it to the right hand side of the raised section. And I'm just going to have it at an angle like that. There you go. So there we have our beach day card. We've got our three different colourways now. So I've got the brighter. So this was using Bermuda Bay, and this was using just Jade. So it's quite nice to have the different colours. But yeah, you can play around with the colours anyway, as much as you like. So that is the that particular style. I've also made a couple of other designs using the same set. So I've done this one. So again, using crumb cake. I just wanted the surfboards on this one. Again, I've got the seed design, and I've just done 2 sections of the same colour. So what we did for this one, I've just done that twice. And then, yeah, I did like a little flag sort of for the happy birthday. And then the second one I did, or the third one even, why is that sticking? Oh, that's because there's glue on there, okay. And then the third one I did was this one. It's very simple, very clean lines, but I just really liked it for the simplicity of it. Again, you can do any colourway you like, so this is obviously quite female, but you could do, you know, blues, greens, yellows, oranges, and it can very easily be male. So to get this bit of sand here, I've just cut out a piece of, or sort of literally just pulled a piece of paper, just make a detail. And then I basically used that as a mask. I then had my blending brush, and again I used crumb cake, and I basically then just used a bit of the ink for that, for the detail, and then obviously just stamped the other images there. So again, I'm probably going to do some more of those. It's quite a nice reflective card, this one. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully I've sort of taken a bit of the speed of it away by doing the colouring in advance, but you can obviously do the colours as much as you know, colourways as much as you want to. So I hope you've enjoyed that. As always, you can find me on amandascraftedcards.stampinup.net, on Stampin' Up website to look at the products, and I'm also on as Amanda's Crafted Cards on YouTube and on Pinterest. So drop me a note and let me know what you thought to the project, and I hope you have fun recreating it. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.